2024 was a very interesting year for credit cards and the travel space. But what about 2025? Today, we're going to talk about our predictions for credit cards and award travel for 2025. My name is Sean, and I am finally in person here with my co host, Sherwin.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sherwin. Very happy to be here finally in person together. And this is the Credit Card BS podcast. So we're going to jump right into our credit card predictions for 2025. So we kind of have three categories of things. First, we're going to talk about credit cards, and then about our airline programs, and then finally hotel programs. So let's start with some predictions about credit cards. So one of the ones I put down was that I think some aspects of Bilt will be devalued or nerfed. Um, I think we've already seen some of this happen with, for example, them capping the number of points you can earn with the rent day double points promotion. We've seen reports that the number of people Wells Fargo anticipated to spend a lot on their credit cards merchant fees because they have the 5 minimum transactions per
Yep.
month. Was less than expected. So I think they're going to tighten up some things. Perhaps maybe some of the good transfer partners might be lost. Like, what do you think, Sean, might happen?
Yeah, I mean, this is inevitable. Built has been too good for too long for no annual fee card. If I had to predict, I think the transfer bonuses that they're going to do, like these insane, 50 to 100% bonuses, those will go down. In terms of like losing a transfer partner, I wouldn't be shocked if they lose Hyatt or like change the ratio maybe or something like that. Maybe change the points earning itself. I mean, obviously, their big bonus for them is ironically the fact that they don't give a bonus. So that helps them, keep their costs low a lot. But yeah, I think losing a transfer partner or just adjusting some of the rates would be the most likely consequence.
Yeah, I think they're losing money when like people pay rent, but then they have the thing where like you need 5 transactions or
Yeah.
to get those points to try to make that up, but the math isn't working out for them. So I think something's going to happen there. You want to move on to the next one?
Yeah. So another one is that Amex will revamp the green card, and so probably increase the annual fee on this. I mean, this has been long overdue. This card is, pretty trash across the board. Usually their cards they have some kind of perks that in theory can offset it. They kind of have that now with the green, but it's just not to the same degree. They're trying to go for like an entry level travel card, and I think for a lot of people it doesn't make sense. So I think, I could see them throwing in some kind of auxiliary credit into it, increasing the annual fee a bit. I'm not sure specifically what they would do. Maybe increase the sign up bonus. I mean, we have seen a lot of other companies with their entry level travel cards, at the 95 to 105 or $150 price point, maybe offer like a 75,000 point bonus. Amex is like on their high end cards, like a Biz Plat or just even the Platinum. They'll throw points at you, but on a green, they're giving you like 40K, 50K if you're lucky, right? That's like pretty low in this space.
Yeah, I think we might see more like semi-annual, quarterly, or monthly credits show up on the green. And they recently just increased the annual fee for the gold and added more credits. They haven't done so for the green, which is still at a 150 annual fee. I think it's likely going to happen.
Yeah,
Um, okay, let's
I
move
agree.
on. I also think Amex might revamp its business gold and plum cards. These are kind of bottom of the barrel business cards from Amex that they haven't really done anything about in years, and they're not exciting in terms of their reward structures or anything. And they've revamped their business gold and business plat recently in this last year, so I think it's possible. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the business green and the plum are. I mean, especially. I mean, yeah, the business green. That thing. I forget if they changed the design on it, but it looks like it's from like 1995 still. That thing.
Yeah, like you're paying
Yeah,
an annual fee for like no benefits.
like
It's like
zero. Like
literally worse than the Blue Business Plus
yeah,
in terms of the earning rates and everything.
I don't know
Yeah.
what they're gonna do with those cards. I mean, the plum is like a bit of a unique product because it's more about like cash flow management rather than rewards.
Yeah.
The business green is like there's just actually no perks for it. So whatever they do to the personal green, I wouldn't be surprised if they kind of mirror it on the business green side.
Yeah.
Again, some kind of extra credit. Obviously, a change in multipliers and a bigger sign up bonus because the business green sign up bonus is literally like peanuts right now.
Yeah. And in a similar vein, I think the Amex Biz Plat might get new credits. They recently changed the annual fee like 2 years ago, so
Yeah.
I don't think it's due for another annual fee increase. But I saw rumors that like the Dell credit was maybe going away, and then they extended it for like half a year, maybe as a temporary measure or something. So I think we might see new credits with that.
Yeah, I wonder what they would do with it. I would love for them to introduce something more like similar to the platinum of like an FHR credit. I think that would be nice. I didn't know this. Okay, there's something I didn't know, and I've been really mad about this on the Biz Plat. I didn't know, and I can't believe I didn't know this. The Biz Plat doesn't give you 5x on Airline.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it only the personal Plat does, and
Does it have any useful multiplier?
5x on like Amex travel. But what
Okay.
makes me so mad about this is I've been putting all of my flights and all of my award taxes on the business platinum,
Oh.
thinking I'm gonna get 5x, and I was not this entire time. I probably put like 6 to 7 grand of flight
Wow.
purchases, and that is like such an amateur hour mistake. So. For my sake, I hope they change the multipliers on this card and make it 5x, because it is weird that the personal plat has 5x on Airline, but the
Yeah.
business plat does not. I don't really.
I mean, they have the
get that.
1.5x if you spend like on
Over
a big
5K,
transaction
yeah,
or something.
that's something.
What? It's still lower than Blue Business Plus.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's, but I do know like there are some business owners that just have like a bunch of high spend and like don't care about the points or multipliers that they earn on the Biz Plat. They just get it because it's the highest tier card. So maybe there's not that big of an incentive for Amex to improve the
Yeah.
multipliers. Okay, another one I have down is I think Chase will continue to tighten their application approval algorithm. We've already seen them start to do this at the tail end of 2024, where it's no longer given that you'll get a card if you're under 524, if you don't have too much existing credit extended, whereas in the past it was easy to get a bunch of inks. I think they're starting to maybe take the Amex route of like only proving people that they think have a decent probability of being profitable. It's even possible they may, start something similar to a pop-up deal where they offer you the card but not the bonus. Because right now, like the way Chase works is if you're not eligible for the bonus, you can't get the card at all. I'm wondering if they'll decouple that. Maybe
That
going
would be
forward.
interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if they do that, because from their perspective, if they think you're a safe, not a credit risk or anything, there's not really any reason for them not to give you more cards if there's no bonus, right? And so for them, it's like, okay, if someone's willing to pay us money for a card that's profitable to us, we don't have to give them a big juicy sign-up bonus for, and their like credit profile is like totally sound, no reason not to give that to them. So it is kind of silly actually when you think about it.
Yeah.
And it's actually like, as much as we hate Amex pop-up jail, it is nice because Amex isn't saying no, you can't get the card. Like, let's say for some reason you just want those card benefits. It is nice in a sense of them to where like, look, they'll still approve like a potato for any of their cards. So you can still get the card if they don't like you that much and just pay a bunch of money. So it's like you still have that option, but you don't even have that with Chase. So I think that would be nice.
Yeah.
I think another thing that will be nice to finally see is Citi relaunch their high tier card, which I think will likely happen because, Citi doesn't have a top tier card in the market other than the AA executive card, which really, I mean, let's be real, is not a top tier card in that sense. So it'd be nice to see like a high tier general travel card come back into play. Hopefully it has like priority pass restaurants. Hopefully it has good multipliers.
Yeah.
A large sign up bonus, and then some tangible credit. Especially now that we've seen the U.S. Bank Altitude Reserve being closed to new applicants, something with a really easily, tangibly, like usable credit would be great.
Yeah, that's true, but I am concerned. So, I mean, City Prestige has still been around for people who have it. The applications haven't been open for years. And the more recent card that City has launched, and by the way, the Prestige has a very easy to use credit, but the more recent card, the high tier AA card, has these very annoying, difficult to use credits. Like there's some weird, like food delivery thing, or some Hertz rental, or something. I think whatever. So I feel like I wouldn't put my money on them like giving a very easy to use credit if they were to launch a high tier. It seems like most issuers are going this direction.
The only thing I'll say with that card that's unique is from the most people that get it, they're banking on people getting it purely for the Admirals Club access. Because the thing is like to buy an Admirals Club access is like like $800 or something. So if you were gonna do that anyways, I could see like how, but I do agree with you, it's probably not gonna be that useful. But I see how there's a difference because like if they're providing priority pass, that's like comparatively vastly cheaper than providing Admirals Club access.
Here's what I'll say. I think if it's going to be easy to use credit, the effective annual fee is still going to be positive to the extent that it'll be a card where the effective annual fee is 0 or negative, like the Venture X or like a Platinum card from Amex. It's going to be a difficult to use credit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair.
All right, let's move on. U.S. Bank recently closed applications for a top tier altitude reserve. It comes with that card came with a Party Pass membership that was sort of limited since you only get 8 visits per year, but it did include Party Pass restaurants, which was a benefit that we've seen Amex lose, Capital One lose, and Chase lose. So US Bank one is the only one that still has it, and it's not even open to new applicants. I think it's very possible they'll get rid of restaurants for Party Pass, and US Bank will be the last one to not have it. Like, what do you think?
Yeah, it's a shame because that's a perk that is like, becoming so rare now. And even cards where I'm like, they should not be removing this because these cards aren't even competitive enough to begin with. They're removing it from. And it's really annoying because for a lot of airports, right, these might be your only options. And also what's nice about them is like, look, a lot of Party Pass lounges are pretty trash. But like when these restaurants are special experiences, they can be a lot better because at least you're getting like a sit down restaurant, or maybe you're getting like a spa treatment or something that's a little more like, there's a certain minimum bar they have to reach, right? A lounge could be really, really, really bad because it's just a lounge. It's a place to hang out. But like a restaurant, they can't, you know what I'm saying? Like they have to maintain a certain level of like food standard and quality. Because unlike Priority Pass lounges, there are people actually paying money to go to these restaurants and people paying money to use these services. So there's a certain bar they have to reach. So it's a shame. I think you might be right on that. I really hope you're wrong, but I think you're probably right.
I hope too, but like I feel like the reason Amex, Chase, Capital One have gotten rid of them is probably because they're expensive to give out, and the fact that the U.S. Bank Altitude Reserve is already such a good card with its effective annual fee and everything makes me think they're probably losing a lot of money from this. So
yeah, I agree.
We'll see. Okay, and then
so I think another prediction, and I think this one should be pretty conservative. I think likely what happened is that Wells Fargo will get one or more new transfer partners. They've been getting into this space of actually having transferable currencies, which is great to see. They have some pretty, I would say, promiscuous transfer partners, as people like to say, where these transfer partners tend to be transferable from every bank. Hopefully, they start going into maybe more unique options. I don't think it's necessarily likely that they do that, but like something like EVO would be great to see. Maybe not Turkish anymore. I guess Airline would be great. It's not on everyone. But just something that's, maybe a little more niche. Like, okay, we got enough cards that give us Virgin Atlantic. We don't always need that.
They are good points.
They're good points.
I'm not mad that they have Air France.
I'm not mad. But, I mean, there's I'm not struggling to earn those points anymore. Something like EVO would be great where it's like really hard to earn. I don't think they're going to get ANA anytime soon, but that would be interesting.
Yeah.
But just something new. In the hotel space, I think it'd be interesting if they had something that's like a somewhat of a competitive rate.
Choice is competitive. They have the 1 to 2.
Is it 1 to 2 on Wells Fargo?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's somewhat competitive.
But their portfolio is not as.
It's not as good, and they've been devaluing a lot, which is a shame. But yeah.
Okay. Cool. So now let's talk about some of the predictions we have about airline loyalty programs, often tied to these credit cards. So one thing that I've seen has been very interesting is the Alaska and Hawaiian merger. As part of the deal, I think that they signed with the government allowing the merger to proceed, they promised that the miles would be transferable to each other. So if you had one Alaska mile, it could become one Hawaiian mile. If you had one Hawaiian mile, it could become one Alaska mile. And since Alaska miles are so valuable yet hard to earn, and Hawaiian miles are easier to earn, there has been this, I think, narrow sort of limited time sweet spot where you could get a bunch of Hawaiian miles either by transferring them from Amex or getting the Barclays Hawaiian cards and having those become Alaska miles. Also, Hawaiian has had competitive sales with their points where you could buy Hawaiian miles for very cheap, become Alaska miles. I personally don't think this is that sustainable. I think eventually something will happen to it this year where either they'll just stop the transfers altogether. You're probably safe if you've already transferred, but they might stop it, or they might put restrictions like if you got the Hawaiian miles not by flying, but rather from the Hawaiian credit cards, from transferring Amex points, or from buying those points, those will not become Alaska miles. What do you think, Sean?
I think you're right on that. I think I think there's also a decent chance Amex will just cease transfers to Hawaiian. Let's just say Amex drops Hawaiian as a transfer partner. That would, somewhat solve the issue. I mean, I know buying the Hawaiian miles, that is still an issue, but that's more of like a niche issue. It's not as big of a problem for a lot of people.
The Bilt transfer to Hawaiian disappeared. Around the time this merger thing happened, but they still have Alaska as a transfer partner for now. So it's kind of strange.
That is, yeah. I would not be surprised if that happened. I also wouldn't be surprised if we see like a deval come in, something
Yeah.
with the Alaska miles. I mean, Alaska miles, unfortunately, they're not really what they used to be back before when they'd have, these like fixed airline award charts. You could get some insane things like you could like, if you could ever get Space Cathay to Hong Kong, you could get JAL first. I think it was like 80 or 85K. That used to be really, really amazing. Now it's still good. Don't get me wrong. There's still sweet
Better
spots.
than Delta for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's still good spots, but I think it's gotten a lot tougher to use. But I think you're right. Something is going to give in that. I don't know what. It's going to be one of those things, though, where
And
something
they have
happens.
good partners. Too. Like
Yeah.
I like that you can book Starlux.
Yes,
For example,
yes. Oh my God, I wanna
that
fly
other
Starlux.
ones don't have.
Yeah.
Now I want to talk about
Yeah.
the other program I had in mind, which is American Airlines. So I think American Airlines will probably make it a bit harder to earn their elite status. We've seen United and Delta make it substantially harder to earn elite status, especially with Delta. You'd have to spend so much more money, and it's like really unattainable to get their top tier unless you're actually flying a lot for work or you're a consultant, et cetera, et cetera. Whereas American Airlines sort of took the opposite approach and where it made it easier for non-frequent flyers to earn elite status with their loyalty point system where you can earn them from using your shopping portal or spending on their credit cards. Now, I still think they will keep the loyalty point earning methods because they've actually been very financially successful with all the increased credit card spend. People are now putting on AA credit cards. I think that's been a wise move for them. But I wouldn't be surprised if they raise the loyalty point threshold to a higher number, since now the amount of money you need to spend on AA credit cards to earn high top tier status is still a lot of money, but significantly lower than like Delta or United. So I think they'll adjust that.
I agree, especially for the perks they're providing. Like to get top tier AA status, you have to spend 200K on a credit card. Now, a lot of people watching this are going to go, $200,000 on a credit card. That's a lot of money. There are people that spend that in like 2 weeks that run a business, and it's not like these are not always just like ultra wealthy people, right? There's just a lot of businesses that have a lot of spending, right? Even if their margins are pretty thin. So for this, there's a decent amount of people that are either MSing on these cards or that are doing high spend. I know a lot of people that are actually reaching like top tier AA status because of this. So I think, yeah, you're right. Like to some degree, they're going to have to make it a little harder.
Yeah.
Because I think it is a little too easy right now to get like top tier status. Like, like with like not even just like, oh, we're granting you the status, but you're earning the actual loyalty points. So you're getting the milestones for it. Like that is actually kind of insane.
Yeah, you could get a better upgrade than the person sitting next to you who's actually been flying AA day in, day out because you spent more credit cards and never set foot on a plane. I think that's going to change.
Yeah, and I think for people like MSing, like 200K a year on MS, like isn't actually that high.
Yeah.
And as far as the MS game goes.
Yeah.
I think there's also another prediction is that we're going to see more like just general sweet spot devaluations. We've seen like 2 back-to-back devals of Virgin on ANA flights.
Without notice.
Without notice. I would not be surprised if we see another one. I would not be shocked. I don't want to. I think there's going to be some of these sweet spots, especially in these more like, I want to say like risky programs that, don't notify us, that I would not be surprised if we see a lot more of those. I'm worried about like Virgin on ANA. I'm still worried about AA a little bit, redemption, to be honest.
Etihad and Turkish were pretty badly
Those were
hit this
brutal.
year. What were the other ones that were pretty bad?
I mean,
hit this year?
Etihad wasn't that bad hit. Turkish was brutally hit. I
Yeah.
remember that. I mean, this
I think
year,
United raised a bunch of award prices
Yes.
for the high end.
did Virgin get hit again this year? I mean, they did.
They
right, kind of.
introduced like dynamic pricing.
Yes,
but
which
that's
is not
been
bad,
nice.
right? That wasn't that bad.
I need to study it more. I think some people have been very angry about it, while other people were just like, "Oh, I can still book the safer awards." So I don't know.
I mean, for me, it worked out because I was able to book like a LAX to Heathrow flight for like $250 in taxes plus like 49K points each in business.
Okay.
Which before, right, that would have been way higher in taxes and basically
At least
the
you
same
have the
amount of points.
availability now.
Yes,
so.
and so that wasn't that bad. But
That's actually another sort of prediction I might have is like more programs doing like the dynamic pricing.
yeah, that would.
Which
that would
I
be
mean, it's double-edged sword. Like more availability, but you're gonna pay a lot more points. Harder
Yeah.
to get outside value. It's kind of like Hilton letting you book every single possible room type.
Yes,
but
but
some
it's
of them
like
cost
4
millions
million
of
points, yeah.
yeah. Okay. I think we can run through these last 2 airline ones pretty quickly. I think something bad will happen to United again. Like maybe some more
Like
devaluation.
usual.
I mean, it costs like so many points to fly business class to Asia now. It's like super ridiculous. I mean, Delta, I think will make their sky miles even worth less, which is crazy to think about because they're basically like barely more than a cent each now in
Yeah.
value. Like you can't get any outsized value. Now there were some like I hesitate to even use the word sweet spots because they're just like non-horrible
Normal
spots.
redemptions compared to other
But like
programs.
those were like if you flew from a non-US or non-North American destination to another non-North American or non-US destination, I think those might also get devalued.
Yes,
They
were
refused
some
to
that
let us have any outside value.
Yes,
Their point.
and they weren't even that good to begin with. You'd be
Yeah.
paying like 80,000 one way in Delta One, right?
Yeah.
That is not like some screaming deal or something. That's like it's good for like I guess international to Asia.
How much does it
thing.
cost? Now it's like 300,000 or more.
For like from the
like
US?
if I want to go to Japan business class.
And from the US, it's like 300,000. I mean,
Yeah,
like
it's
even these
stupid.
sales I'll get from like Thrifty Travel or Premium and stuff. Like I'll get an alert like Delta Sky Miles sale, 120,000 points one way to Asia. Like it's some screaming like
yeah.
this is a great deal.
And then if you transfer your Amex points to Delta, you have to pay taxes.
Yeah,
on
it's
it.
ridiculous.
Okay.
Actually insane. Okay,
Yeah.
let's
Okay.
move on to the hotel predictions.
Yes.
I think one that is like for sure going to happen. I would bet money on this. Hyatt's going to do another round of category changes. We've seen, there was like last year. Remember, it wasn't like that bad. I think.
So last year was pretty bad. Last
yes.
year was a mixed.
And then like
bag.
3 years ago was really bad, right? 3 years ago was like
Yeah.
brutal.
But it's always around March time. But at least they give us like a month's notice.
yes.
And like if you book during that period before they change the prices and things get more expensive, they won't upcharge you later. So you can kind of
And they'll
lock in.
pay you back if it goes down in price.
Yes.
And if you're a globalist, you can use globalist points advance if you don't have the points yet to book these places and
Right.
lock them in, which is really nice. Now, in terms of, do you have any specific predictions of like properties or trends that we might see?
I think prices will go up in the US.
Yes.
Generally, we've seen cash prices go through the roof in the US. Like it used to be like in some locations, $200, not like the best hotel, but like something decent. And now if you want something decent, like it's like double the price.
Yes,
or
it's like
whatever.
I mean, in like fairly big cities, right? If you're in somewhere like New York or San
I think
Francisco.
like labor costs are increasing,
Yes.
but like it's really sad to me because not only have the prices gone up, but also the quality of services come down. Like club
Yes.
lounges have not reopened,
Yes.
right? Now they're nickel and diming you for everything, like parking, resort fee, destination fee. I just checked out of a hotel earlier this week, not from Hyatt, but it was a free night, but then I have to pay $40 for parking and $35 for resort fee, and it was still $75 out of pocket, even though I used a certificate. So, I think, Hyatt categories, especially since they're static throughout the whole year, like I think there's going to be category increases. Dare I say they might introduce category 9?
Oh, that'd be brutal because Cat 8 is already such a jump over Cat 7, right?
Yes.
And the thing is, this is the thing that makes it even worse. Most, I would say, Cat 8s, most popular Cat 8s, are not true Cat 8s in the sense, I would call them
yeah.
Cat 8 pluses in the sense that they tend to always be peak priced. And it drives me nuts.
Ooh.
Like Lila Ventana, that's a Cat 8. I dare you to find a single not even just an off peak, but like a non-peak night is virtually impossible. Like every night is peak basically. Park Hyatt Kyoto, like most nights are peak nights, right? So most of these Cat 8s, they're basically 45,000 points. So you're talking about a 50% increase over a Category 7, which is like actually absurd at that price point.
Yeah.
So I really hope they don't introduce a Cat 9. I wouldn't be shocked. But the thing is, I would say like, if they're already costing 45,000 points a night for some of these Cat 8s, like to go higher than that, you start to get to a level of absurdity that like, only Hilton, IHG, and Marriott.
Yeah,
can
I
match.
know.
But I wouldn't be surprised. Like I would
know.
not be totally shocked.
Okay, well, this is odd. This is like very specific, but one thing I would hope they do is bring like Carmel Valley Ranch and Alila Napa down back to category 7 or
Yes.
6. Because right now you have like these 3 hotels in NorCal, Ventana Big Sur, Carmel Valley Ranch, and Alila Napa that are all category 8, even though
Ventana's
like
the
Ventana Big
best.
Sur is so much better than the other ones, and it's all inclusive. So then there's no
Yes.
reason you want to book the other 2. So it's ridiculous that they're the same price. And the Carmel Valley Ranch is definitely like
Not on the.
it used to be Cat 6.
Yeah,
and then
no,
went
that's
up
what it
to
should be.
7,
It should
and
be
then went up
Ventana
to
at Cat 8. That's fine. Napa at Cat 7. Carmel at Cat 6. I think that would be a good
I
hierarchy.
don't
Or if
even
they
think
do
Napa
both
should
Cat
go
7.
down to 6 because it's not. It's so overpriced and like I don't know. I did not think it was worth it when I went. Okay. Anyway.
Yeah.
Let's move on. I think another possible this one I'm less certain about, but I think it's possible that Hyatt will raise their globalist threshold. I do think Hyatts are seeing more and more people be globalists than in the past, and they want to consistently uphold high brand standards from what I've seen, and it's just impossible to do so if you have too many globalists. Marriott Titanium is 75 nights, IHG Diamond is 70 nights. I think it's possible Hyatt globalists might go up to 70. What do you think?
I think that's totally possible. The tricky part is the fact that like it's harder. I mean, well, it is hard to game Hyatt status, but not that hard, I guess, right? You can spend your way to Hyatt status. Actually, one of the easiest ways out of any of the programs, right? Because you can just spend on a credit card and earn full globalist. So I would not be surprised if they do that. I wouldn't even be opposed if they do that, actually, because if it's legitimately going to improve the program, like I do think I'm someone that believes that a top tier hotel status should actually be like, kind of top tier in the sense that like there should be significant perks. Like that's why I don't really like the whole Hilton program and the Hilton Diamond thing, because it's like, I have top tier status. Like I get it's easy to earn and it's cool and all that, but it's like you're not real. There's no status I can earn with Hilton that's really going to differentiate like my treatment. So I wouldn't be opposed to it if they do that with Hyatt. I would predict. I don't know if I'll predict they will do that. I wouldn't be entirely shocked. One thing I think, not necessarily as a prediction, but I think they should do this, is that they need to differentiate Explorist more. I think what they should do is they should make what they should do, in my opinion, they should raise the threshold of Explorist from 30 to like 45 nights, raise Globalist to like 70 something nights, and then you add extra perks on maybe both of them. Like a few extra perks on Explorers, nothing
Like
too
what perks
crazy.
you want to see for Explorers?
Like, okay, I would like them to actually enforce the room upgrade policy. I feel like a lot of Explorers don't actually get upgraded to the best available non-suite room. I feel like it's kind of like this total random thing. It's like totally dependent. I think Globalist, I would like to see, this might sound weird, I would like to see a bit of an improvement on the breakfast. I feel like it's a little inconsistent. It's like the most consistent, but like there are some hotels I go to and it's like wonderful, right? You get the buffet, you get whatever you want.
Yeah.
And then there's some hotels like you get one entree and one drink. And I'm like, sure, it's fine, but I would.
And some give you a dollar cap that doesn't even make sense.
Yes,
with
they
the
give you some
terms.
arbitrary. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think those are fair. I will say I'm pretty satisfied with Hyatt breakfast, and we're complaining because we can, but realistically, it's the best program
Yes.
compared to the other ends.
Yes.
Now I think along the same lines, I feel like Marriott Platinum, something bad is gonna happen to Marriott Platinum.
Even worse.
Because now too many people have it. It used to be like you actually have to stay nice to earn it. Now you can just get it with the Bonvoy Brilliant card of Amex. It does have to hire a $650 annual fee, but again, it's given to you automatically just by having the card. Platinum is great, to be honest, for being so easy to earn because you get guaranteed 4 p.m. late checkout and free breakfast, depending on the chart of the complicated Marriott breakfast issues. But, it's like very solid, like mid/high tier status. And it's just not realistic for that many people to have it if you're going to give guaranteed 4 p.m. late checkout and free breakfast. I don't know. I feel like what do you think might happen to it?
I don't know what specifically. I could see them removing certain perks. And I think, I'm going to be totally honest, I think they need to differentiate between Platinum, Titanium, and Ambassador more. It is ridiculous how close the perks are, right? Like, currently, on paper, 90% of the perks are the same, right?
Unless you go to a Ritz-Carlton.
But even then, it's like, I get a sweet upgrade.
No, even then, it's because the perks are worse for Platinum, not because the perks
Because they're
are
better.
for
Yeah.
Titanium.
You're just getting the same perks. So I think what they should do, I wouldn't be opposed if they remove, I'm a Titanium, so I guess I'm not opposed to any removal of the perks. But I think maybe remove the 4 p.m. checkout because I can see that being a logistical problem. I don't know what they should do specifically. I mean, to be honest,
I'm scared they're going to change the free breakfast thing to like a Hilton style, like food and beverage credit.
So do you think they would differentiate it between Platinum and higher? Because I agree they might do that, but I don't think especially ambassador members, they can start saying things like, "Oh, we're gonna remove your breakfast benefit." Although it is pretty trash already. Like there's certain hotels that will give you a plate of fruit and a pastry if you're an ambassador. At Royal Hawaiian Luxury Collection Waikiki.
You keep roasting this place.
I keep roasting the place. I'm so mad that there's ambassadors that stay there. Like whatever. I was a lowly Platinum. Who cares? There's ambassadors that spend $25,000 a year basically at Marriott's, and you're getting a pastry plate and yogurt as your breakfast, and you're paying $600 a night for the hotel. That's absurd.
Do you think there's any way they can differentiate between a Platinum who earned it versus a Platinum who got it with Brilliant?
I feel like that would defeat the purpose of giving it because it's like you're not giving the status then. Unless it was like a milestone benefit of like, oh, Marriott introduces like milestone perks, like where you reach a certain milestone and you can pick a
Yeah.
status benefit.
I definitely don't see them going back on like, oh, starting next year, these credit card holders will no longer have.
No,
that.
no.
That's not gonna
They
happen.
would remove perks if they're gonna do it. I don't know
Yeah.
what perks. I feel like they also need to like increase perks for Titanium and Ambassador.
I agree.
Like I think the most obvious like Ambassador should get free breakfast at Ritz-Carlton's. I don't think that's outrageous to say, right? Especially because
I
that
agree.
has a hard spend cap.
And usually these breakfasts don't actually cost that much for the hotel to make because they're overpriced. In the
Yes.
first place. So it's not actually like the dollar amount. that
Yeah,
they're
and it's
charging.
like how many ambassadors are most of these Ritz-Carltons getting? Not that many.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to our next prediction, which is that I think it's possible. I'm also not super confident about this one, but I think Hyatt or IHG might launch a high tier credit card. We previously did an episode about what we would like to see in a Hyatt high tier card. We're talking about at least a 400, 450, or 550 annual fee card.
Yeah.
But those cards tend to be profitable, I would think. Otherwise, Marriott and Hilton would not keep doing them. I think ISG and Hilton or Hyatt might do it because they currently don't have one.
Yes, I mean, I think I don't know what. Okay, so for Hyatt, I feel like they have to at least put like a Cat 6 cert on it to make it interesting. Maybe some kind of a credit. Probably like I think they'll probably do something like first year Explorist or something.
Yeah.
Probably throw in some EQNs that are maybe stackable with the lower card.
I don't think they would give globalists straight
No.
up because that would just defeat the purpose of it being exclusive and having good treatment. But what I would like to see is them giving out 1 or 2 guest of honor certificates.
That would be
each
a
year
great
as
perk.
part of your anniversary. So then you can kind of experience globalist benefits on like the 1 or 2 important stays you have, and then maybe be so enticed by it that you'll be motivated to earn globalists. I think could be a good marketing tool.
And I think that's a really good tool as well. And it's also like it aligns incentives very well.
Yes.
Because it requires for Hyatt to make this an effective perk to entice people to get globalist, they then have to make the globalist perks good.
Yeah.
Because imagine, you get to trial like Marriott Ambassador at a Ritz-Carlton for a day. And it's like, wow, thanks for letting me pay a destination fee, pay for parking, not getting breakfast. Oh, and also just not upgrading me.
Yeah, dude, Marriott and I actually need to stop charging destination fees on
Yes.
award nights. It's ridiculous.
It's
But,
insane.
Yeah.
It's on like free nights. And so I think, they'll do that. I think I would not be totally shocked if IHG released a premium card with diamond status. I can see why they would be hesitant to, but currently, if you only have to spend $40,000 a year on a personal IHG card, right? We're kind of in a similar tier to like I forget what the spend requirement was on the
Hilton
Hilton
Surpass. If you spend 40,000, you'll get diamond.
So it's like
Yeah.
same thing. So it's like I could see them doing that, especially because like they're not upgrading diamonds that consistently. The breakfast
true.
doesn't cost them that much money. And also, they already have a true elite program that is just not talked about. They have Royal Ambassador.
Yes.
Right? So that's a spend only program. You have to be invited. Now it's actually
specific to intercontinentals, but yes.
Intercontinental, you can earn it with Regent spend, and you can earn it with Six
Okay.
Senses and Kimpton spend.
Yeah.
But you're correct. But the perks at the, it's not that hard to earn compared to some of these other programs. It's actually easier to earn than Marriott Ambassador because usually the spend requirement of those brands is like 12 to 15 grand to
Yeah.
be invited, and that's not that high considering Ambassador is like $23,000.
I agree. I think a total revamp is less likely because they already redid the whole IHG one rewards thing, like
Yeah.
mostly positive changes the last 2 years. But I think they need to focus on the consistency and delivery of those IHG one rewards benefits, like clarifying what breakfast includes. Like there's no terms about not having to pay gratuity. That is still boggles my mind because Hyatt has had this down for years.
Yeah.
Right. Like upgrades. What does that mean? Do diamonds get a suite if it's available? Like Hyatt does, right? So more consistent delivery of benefits. I want to see something to do with parking or resort fees, like Hyatt does. So less about like revamping their program, but making their program feel more valuable to earn and maintain status with. I think is important because right now the difference between Platinum, which you can just get by having the IHG credit card, and Diamond is realistically, tangibly only free breakfast, and there
Yes.
just needs to be more, in my opinion.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree. I think another thing we might see is Hilton could increase the redemption rates at their premium tier hotels. And we've seen this with Hilton where Their low tier and mid tier hotels, trash redemption value.
Yeah.
Like awful. Like you're just lighting money on fire by using your points there most of the time. But at their high end, okay, I don't mean just luxury properties. Like, there's still like Conrads and Asian stuff that are still trash redemptions.
Yeah.
But at their like pinnacle tier of hotels, Waldorf Maldives, Conrad Maldives, Waldorf Cabo, Waldorf or Conrad Bora Bora, those kind of hotels. Kalala Island.
Yeah.
Oh, the SLH as well. Yes, those are all like across the board, like virtually all great redemptions, right?
Yes.
Anytime you see a Hilton that's like north of $1,000 a night, if it's a standard room open, you're basically like
if you're redeeming at least 95,000 points, preferably in the 120K to
Yes.
150K range, it's going to be a great redemption.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the fact that Hilton points are easy to buy makes it great. You get fifth night free, which makes it great. It makes it in the.
So our trepidation is that they're going to jack those up because they're sort of disproportionate to the cash price compared to their like low and mid tier ratios. And we've seen this happen with IHG. Ironically, IHG jacked up the prices of its top tier properties, but not as much to its mid tier. So now we're scared that IHG is going to make things worse for their mid tier, and Hilton's going to make things worse for their high tier.
Yes.
In a sense.
If I just predict specific like amounts, I would predict that Waldorf Maldives goes to 175K points, as well as there's some of their top tier properties.
Even 180 possible.
180 is possible. I predict Waldorf Cabo gets slotted into 150K points.
Yeah.
Which that would not be surprising at all. I would love to see it not, but I would not be shocked. And the only good news with this is that assuming Hilton doesn't add terms to their free night certificates, mostly we're still okay, because I think a lot of people into the Hilton program kind of rely on the free night certificates, not as much on the points.
I'm so scared about that because they recently changed the list of properties that are eligible for the Hilton Resort credit. If you remember, and it became a more restricted list, and that had to do with the Hilton Aspire card specifically. So I hope they don't touch the certificates, because honestly, without the Hilton Aspire and the Hilton credit cards, the Hilton loyalty program is easily bottom of the barrel worst one.
Yes, out of any of
like
them.
Hyatt, you can get great value even if you don't have the Hyatt credit card, right?
Yeah.
Like Hilton, absolutely no reason to do it. Like, why would you spend 60 nights?
Yeah, because even Marriott, at least like their portfolio is the kind of, in the sense that like, look, if I'm going to spend this many nights, at least like, their portfolio is able to justify it, and to some degree of like, okay, when I reach that top tier, at least I'm getting, if I'm staying at like, St. Regis's or something, I'm getting pretty good treatment. But at a Hilton, it's like you're never, even if you earn Diamond organically, you're never going to get like that.
Yeah, I'm tired of people defending it. Like, this literally is the one out of the 4 programs we were talking about that like has no meaningful milestone rewards.
Yes.
benefits.
Even IHG, it's like, okay, if you spend at IHG, you get club access, and the IHG has good clubs, right?
Yeah.
Like, so there's something there at least.
And Marriott has the upgrade awards.
Yes.
Or you can pick certs, right?
Yes.
I mean, Hyatt, obviously the best. You can get the really
confirmed
valuable
suite
upgrades and stuff. And yeah, Hilton's just like, you get extra 20 or 30,000 points.
Which is like 150
Which is like
bucks.
already worth very little, because
Yes.
Hilton points are so easy to get from their credit card
Yes.
sign-up bonus. So, okay, I think we're done ranting for today. So maybe we can revisit this at the end of
the year, see if we're right.
next year.
Yeah.
See how many of these came true. Yeah, sadly, I feel like there are more negatives than positives.
Yeah, I mean, this is the trend. I mean, with inflation, you'll see it as a trend, right? Because, like, let's say the point value stayed the same, but there's inflation. That would mean there would actually be, like, deflation of the points. Because when there's inflation, in theory, right, people are spending more money.
That's only going to happen with Hyatt because it's, like, fixed. The other ones are, like...
Dynamic. I mean, it's nice to see that Hilton at least isn't fully dynamic yet. Because at least they have buckets. Like, they claim it's dynamic, but it is a bucketed, right? Versus IHG.
Is Marriott also bucketed on the back end?
So Hilton's like a fixed bucket, right? Like, where it's like, if Waldorf Cabo is open, it's 120K, like always, right? But like Marriott is a bucket range, as in, so like it can go, between a certain range.
Got it.
But like IHG is kind of just the Wild West out here, where, like they, who knows what they're going to do. They could just raise the price overnight, like double.
They used
or
to have
something.
great like Bora Bora redemption.
Yeah, oh my, it used to be like 70K.
Now it's like 250K or something.
And
okay,
6 cents.
Anyway, we need to wrap up
yeah.
here. So thank you all so much for your support, especially at the end of the year here. This is our 90th episode, which is crazy
Wow.
to see.
That's insane.
Yeah. I'm glad we finally got to do this in person. So if you enjoyed today's episode, please continue supporting us by liking this video, subscribing, leaving a comment. If you found our information useful, one of the easiest and best ways you can support us is by using our referral links down in the description below. If you want to sign up for a credit card, it really greatly helps us out. Sean, why don't you plug our Discord?
So if you want to connect with an elite group of award travelers and credit card enthusiasts entirely for free, check out the Traveling Discord at the link in the description. You will learn a ton, I promise you. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next week.